Good tidings and good existence to you. Welcome back to the Quiet Palace podcast, where great legends prevail and evil wanes to dust. Hopefully. I'm your caffeinated and reasonably tempered host, Fett, and today I have for you a more story-bound concept. To those who have ever found themselves fated to protect the world from a great and unyielding evil, they might find great renown well throughout the realms they defend. With such respect and possible titles, perhaps even more powerful individuals or entities take notice. Perhaps such power may come to those who bring the strongest light into the world. Someone with incredible potential they have or have yet to realize can come to be sometimes. Someone that stands out or shines in a way that conventional means might not be able to replicate innately. Where there may be some room for a little extra material, perhaps it might be time for your party to be recognized as champions of a bright ideal. Today we shall discuss being chosen or equivalently situated in your D&D world, how players might determine their path onwards, and how they might manage this title alongside factions or folks that might influence. I also have a potential proposal that some might find mechanically suitable, and because of such we won't be forgetting to address how the chosen ones do things in the game itself. So you have become part of a prophecy, an avatar of a varying list of ideals, or something equally important in your Dungeons & Dragons 5e adventure. How wonderful! What in hell's blazes did you plan on doing with all that power, that influence? People rich and poor, grizzled and loving alike might look upon your very entrance as a blessing. People might come right up to you and profess their praise to you for your heroic embodiment. Perhaps you're formed through dark influence, and the world knows to lock its doors and windows if they wish to have a chance to see the next day or their possessions untaken. You could potentially be some sort of complete and utter anomaly and a boggler of minds. The most knowledgeable sages might look upon you with unwavering curiosity or ignorant frustration. Whatever the case may be, fate has found you for a most glorious purpose among new and astonishing lands. I could take two examples from the realms of my origin. I myself often hire adventuring parties across the plains of mortals to help me in places I can't quite be at the moment. Though, to the most enthusiastic and virtuous warriors I come across, I may entrust a mode of power. This token of trust and respect grants them a draconic influence that adds an element of damage to their choosing, to their attacks, and it can summon a draconic spirit that aids them in battle. I have to hand it to my competition. Once a friend of mine, one known as Viester, revealed his true nature as a powerful fiend at the head of a criminal undercity. His highest ranked officers are given a title, which in itself is magical, that grants them a sharp resilience and perilous speed. Whether it be divinity, eldritch beings, or even a gang of very persuasive pirates that always have a cannonball on course as a sort of remote assistance, there are many ways to gain legendary boons. Speaking of boons, I'll brush over epic boons quickly. Should you be unaware, epic boons can be found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, often a reward for reaching level 20. However, few campaigns ever involve level 20, and these abilities aren't something you see a lot of. Unless you've met anyone with a dragon tattoo recently. We will cover the benefits of boons later on. For now, we'll discuss the path of the chosen one. Yeah. What a chosen one might choose to do with their newfound power is beyond limitless. One could approach the darkness that beckons the light scorn and fulfill their destiny. It is not without reason that the chosen have an important role to play. Sometimes that's enough for them, or perhaps the consequences are a little too dire to stand idly by. Many chosen decide to hide their power or ignore their destiny, journeying onwards from whence they were named to avoid what dark and unknown fate awaits them. Many destinies are bloody or end in martyrdom, and not all are as fearless of death or as unscathed by the many elements of life that leave some minds jaded. Perhaps their power is more mysterious. Secrets of the universe whisper to the chosen ones, leaving them to wonder and worry. Perhaps their desperate realizations or fruitless attempts at abandoning this anomaly leads right back to the beginning, or perhaps into the bowels of the beast itself. Perhaps their destiny is outside the world of adventure. They may rule a nation one day, destroy a world, or rid the world of unfathomable horrors via the command of an army equal to none. They may uncover a miraculous secret, curing plagues or improving the living conditions of all. Despite what the dusty old tablet says, it's beyond their time in midst of combat, here and now. But how does the world react to the Chosen One besides ecstatic strangers or aspiring disciples? Knights or officers of an order may seek your destruction or imprisonment. Criminal organizations may search for you to make a conduit in their dealings. Perhaps a holy order wishes to put a potential spawn of a powerful and malevolent ruler to the sword. Nevertheless, many people will talk of such an important person, and as such, a pair of ears might be graced on the tellings of their potential gain upon your capture, though the more positively aligned might be the case. Perhaps a holy order or monastery pledges to protect an entity of your composition, or even another group of adventurers marches forth to find ways to help you fulfill your destiny or break free of an evil one. A noble might come forth to become your patron, protecting you and possibly hiding your true identity. Such are the things to consider in the place of the world's savior or undoing. Monologue potential aside, the Chosen Ones might exemplify a unique trait or a little extra power than the norm. Epic boons for level 20 characters are a great way of helping diversify or intensify a character. Being immortal or completely undetectable by magic is really damn decent in the grand scheme of things and can help a ton when there's a lot at stake. Being able to nullify a possible killing blow or cast Misty Step as a freebie when the need arises are traits I don't even have to expand on. However, what about the rest of us? You could give one of these epic boons to a level 5 character, sure, but that's definitely going to throw things off a good deal where that trait is useful. Sometimes your players can find uses for it you never planned for. That is especially dangerous for the sanctity of a campaign and a general storyline. Here I give to you my aforementioned proposal. We could make entirely new boons appropriate for lower level characters, although some argue that it would be easier to nerf the epic boons as they stand to be more suitable. The boon of undetectability would go down to a +5 bonus to stealth checks, with access to the non-detection spell as a freebie cast instead of flat-out immunity to divining spells. Maybe boon of the Fire Soul could give us fire resistance instead of immunity. We can keep our Burning Hands freebie, but we'll limit it to the amount of uses that scale with your proficiency bonus. I will give you 2 boons of my own creation. I believe these could come in handy for players at levels maybe about 5 to 8. First is the boon of the Storm Druids. The chaotic energies of nature flow through you, channeled by an ancient druidic circle that celebrates the more violent emergences of the world's movement. You have one use of the druidic wild shape form you could take as any level 8 druid, and you choose that bestial shape when you gain the feature. You're able to cast the Thunderwave spell an amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. Then there's the Liar's boon, proficiency with the Deception skill, double proficiency bonus if they're already proficient. They're able to add charisma to their intelligence and wisdom checks provided they are checks made in contest against other creatures. +1 to attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws made against a creature you have successfully deceived within the past 7 days. These are examples I believe are fairly reasonable for a D&D game at lower or moderate level caps. Nothing that could exclaim that such an individual is an unshakable force, yet something that could grow to become such a thing. Maybe that dumbed down epic boon can become fully available when they reach a certain level, or the aforementioned examples for proposals could become stronger. Today, we've covered the concept of prophetic warriors in your Dungeons & Dragons 5e campaign, and I hope that this rambling has given you some insight on how to situate this context into your world, as well as how to involve in-game mechanics in regards to adding unique capabilities your party may wield as part of an ancient legend. This isn't something I get to play around with all too often, but I enjoy the concept of having a little more to you than what your class, lineage, and background give you. Keep in mind some balancing might be in order on one end or the other. I'm not perfect. But the examples I gave are things I consider more an additive than an actual boost in damage output or group synergies. I saw it as something that makes your character feel a little more special, as opposed to unstoppable. It can be exhausting for the DM to manage abilities that break a lot of mechanics or tools their world has for keeping the party from tearing reality apart. Adjustments can be made, and players can be aware that with great power comes great responsibility, but sometimes it's best to just go with the safer bet. Your module or future events might just thank you for that one. Speaking of thanks, thank you so very much for being here and being part of my podcast. I hope you found these discussions helpful or inspiring in some way. I don't know every tidbit about D&D, but I'll be damned if I'm anywhere near close at understanding the lore behind my favorite board game ever. That's just the way it is. We'll get there someday, but yeah. Taking an opportunity to do something truly different with your players and make them feel even more unique than perhaps they might normally feel is just kind of interesting and inspiring in some instances. If there are people out there that enjoy playing or creating the assets for their games that glean something beneficial for their experience, I'll feel like I've done something truly great in this regard. Maybe one day you can get somewhere with that, and you never know. As per the norm, I hope your existence is a kind and love-filled one, and I hope to talk with you all again soon. Thank you.